Is this thing on? It is. All right, welcome back to the Bandwagon Sports Show. I'm your host, DaRock, and we are once again talking some college basketball. We had a loaded slate tonight here on Tuesday, and some of the games, not the greatest. We had a couple blowouts for sure, but then we had some, they ended up coming back, being closer games, being more exciting. And I mean, when you have a big as a slate as you did tonight, that's just kind of bound to happen. So we're going to discuss that, talk some of these games, just kind of go over the big results quickly, and then we will get into my picks for Wednesday's game. Not as big of a slate, that's kind of how it's going to be here. Tuesday's going to be the big slate. It's going to be more picks, more games. I think I did too many games yesterday. 35-minute video, bit of a monster, so we'll keep it shorter, a little bit short and sweet today. Make it a little bit more consumable for you guys, and then kind of limit the number of games we preview. So if you guys are down for that, let me know down below, if you like that format. If you do, make sure to like the video as well, subscribe to the channel, and let's get into it. Cue the drum line. All right, so first, to go through Tuesday's results. We no longer have any undefeated teams here in college basketball. As the number one team in the country, the Tennessee Volunteers, they fall to the Florida Gators 73-43, shooting just horribly from the field. They put up 43 points. There was, Florida gave 106 points to Kentucky on Saturday. They only gave up 43 to Tennessee here tonight. Tennessee shot 20% from the field, 12 of 56, 4 of 29 from beyond the arc. Just absolute dominant effort from Florida defensively, and, it wasn't really even a big scoring night. I'm not going to get too deep into it, but, yeah, that's what happened. Just know it was a very defensive game. The new number one team in the country now, I would guess, Auburn. They go into Texas. They win 87-82, and, this game was a blowout. They were up by 12 at half, led by close to 20 multiple points second half, but Arthur Kaluma had a really good game for Texas. He scored 34, got him back in the game, but Janai Broome, my pick for player of the year, just too much. 20 points, 12 rebounds in the win for Auburn. So the Tigers proved 14-1 on the year. Like I said, they're going to be my pick, depending on how they play this weekend, to be the number one team in the country in the AP poll next week. They've already been the number one team in my poll, but I think for sure it's going to be solidified now. The Duke Blue Devils, they get a big win in kind of the ACC game that I was spotlighting tonight. Just blowing out Pitt 76-47 on their home floor. Just absolute dominant effort throughout. Cooper Flagg, really good game for him. 19 points, 10 rebounds, so double-double. And might have had the dunk of the year so far. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. There's a lot of good dunks. But just absolute highlight. Definitely check it out if you do not see it. Just putting the Pitt guy on a poster. Just absolute baptism. Freshman Connor Knipp also had a really good game. He went 4 of 7 from beyond the arc, so shooting the ball well. So the young guys played a big role in Duke's win here tonight. Then moving on to the Big East, Marquette with a big win, 74-66, coming from behind to knock off Georgetown. Georgetown, they are definitely a lot better team this year and definitely competing in the Big East. They're clearly not going to be a walkover like they have been in years past. You saw it tonight. They led by 9 at half. Had bigger leads at different points in this game. But a big game from Chase Ross with 27 points from Marquette led the way. Only 11 for Cam Jones, but he played well in the win as well. 5 assists. Malik Mack with a good game for Georgetown, 18 points, but just came out short. Marquette was able to pull it out there down the stretch. Now going over to the Big Ten, this was probably the best game of the night. Iowa takes down Nebraska. I picked it correctly, but it took overtime after Nebraska hit a 3 at the buzzer to force overtime. That's why you foul up by 3, kids. I know I don't love it. I don't think it's the most competitive strategy, but I think it's smart, So, but they don't. Nebraska, they hit the 3 to tie it, but it wouldn't be enough. They just get outscored by giving up 21 points in overtime, 21-11 in overtime. Jordan Dix led the way for Iowa, scoring 31 points, and Bryce Williams on the other end was filling the bucket for Nebraska as well. Josh Dix, 31 points. Peyton Sanford also had 30, so 61 points total from Iowa Hawkeyes from those two stars. Bryce Williams filling the bucket on Nebraska, and 28 points for him, but just wasn't enough. Tough to go into Carver Hawkeye and get a win, and sadly, Nebraska couldn't. Looked like they might have it, but Iowa with a good win there. And then the final game we'll touch on here to wrap up Tuesday night, kind of big game. The one I was watching live on Twitch. Hopefully you guys join me there. If you did not, I'll be doing the same thing next Tuesday, so you can join me then. Michigan, they go into UCLA. They sweep the LA schools with a 94-75 win. Vlad Golden was just absolutely dominant. Nobody could stop him. 36 points to lead the Wolverines, and then 20 from Trey Donaldson as well, with Namari Burnett 17 with 3 threes. Just splashing from beyond the arc. So the Wolverines, they had to go on inside and out. So it was a very physical game. A lot of fouls were called, which I didn't really love. I wish the refs would have let the guys play a little bit more, but reality is they didn't. So it is what it is. But Michigan, very good win to go on the road, pick up that win, and improve to 4-0 here in conference play. So now that's going to wrap up Tuesday's big results. I'll go into kind of some more of them on Friday's show and go a little bit deeper into some of these games, but just kind of want to breeze through them quick. So let's get into previewing Wednesday's games. So starting here with the first game to watch for me on Wednesday, we have the 9th-ranked UConn Huskies heading on the road, take on the Villanova Wildcats at 6:30 Eastern on FS1. UConn's 12-3 on the year, 4-0 in conference. Villanova 10-5, 3-1 in conference. So this is one for me. It's interesting because Villanova got off to a slow start. They've definitely been playing better lately. And UConn, outside of their trip to Maui, have been, a very good team. Not the toughest games outside of that, but 4-0 in Big East Conference. Big East isn't the toughest conference, but it's still a good league. But this one they have as a pick'em. They have as a pick'em. The two sites that I do the projections, final score projections. One has 75-74 Villanova. One has 73-68 UConn. So this game can go either way, and I think that's because it's in Villanova, it's in Philly. So it's never easy to go on the road and win. So for me, the matchup to watch in this one is going to be between Alex Karaban, Eric Dixon. Alex Karaban, he's been on both these teams. He's junior now. Been on both national championship teams. Eric Dixon quietly, could be in the National Player of the Year conversation, but it might take his Villanova team being a little bit better. You can see there he's averaging 25 points per game. That's pretty hard to do. So Karaban versus Dixon, those are kind of two bigs. It's going to be an interesting matchup there. UConn scores a little bit more per game, 83 points to Villanova's 80, but does allow 66-66. So they both play similar scoring wise, and then you can see the wins there for both teams. This one for me, I just trust Dan Hurley. I trust the Huskies. I think they go on the road and get the win. Granted, I might be wrong. There's a lot of these good teams that I thought were going to do that on Tuesday, like Tennessee and Kentucky, that ended up losing. So, am I learning my lesson? No, but UConn's a different story. I think the Huskies are good enough to go and get this win. So I'm gonna go with UConn. Take this one. Next, we have the 9-5 USC Trojans head to Bloomington, take on the 12-3 Indiana Hoosiers at 7 Eastern on the Big Ten Network. USC's 9-5, 1-2 in Big Ten play. Indiana 12-3, 3-1 in the conference. So Indiana, they got a good win over the weekend. USC coming off a loss to Michigan. Umar Ballo was back for Indiana and played a big role in that one. So he's gonna need to do that again without Malik Renew in the lineup for the Hoosiers. So both sites that I look for projections, they both have Indiana taking this one. Hazelmetric 74-71, 76-67 for Warren Nolan. So looking at their stats here, both teams scored a pretty similar rate and defended a pretty similar way. I think you're going to see these numbers, for a lot of these conference games, look pretty similar early here in conference play. I think it's going to take, them playing each other for maybe, some of these numbers to balance out a little bit, just because, you're dealing with a lot of these teams coming off of non-conference games where they kind of run up the score a little bit. So 78 points for Indiana, 76 for USC. Points allowed, 70 for Indiana, 69 for USC. So pretty similar. Like I mentioned, lost to Michigan, but win over Washington, and then the Big Ten played a conference game back in December. I really should write down what the results of that were. As you can see, Indiana coming off a good win against Penn State and Rutgers. Lost to Nebraska back in December, but they're playing well. This is just one, again, a lot of these like West Coast teams going out east, I'm just not going to be super confident in until I see them like win out there at a consistent pace. So I'm going to agree with the analytical sites. I'm going with Indiana to take this one. Then moving over to an SEC game, we have the 23rd ranked Ole Miss Rebels, who are 12-2. 1-0 in the SEC, heading to the Arkansas Razorbacks for 11-3, 0-1. This game will be at 7 Eastern on ESPN2. So Arkansas, obviously, a lot of bad pub for them this weekend after their loss to Tennessee. Cal catching flack for not doing shoot around. Like some guys clearly didn't come to play. So they're gonna need a guy like Adu Thyro to step up. He didn't have a good game against Tennessee. He's going to be, one who needs to step up here to get the win. Ole Miss, kind of one of the more quiet SEC headlines just because it wasn't a big marquee game, but they did knock off Georgia over the weekend 63-51. I mean, Georgia's a good team. They just beat Kentucky tonight here on Tuesday. So, one team coming off a good win, another team coming off a bad loss. Looking at the projections here, both have Arkansas winning, scoring, 76-73 one side, 74-71 on the other. So a little bit lower scoring than what they're at. Right now they're averaging 80 points a game to Ole Miss 79, and then allowing 66, Ole Miss 64. This is one where, we're very much seeing it here in the SEC. It is hard to go on the road and win unless you're just an absolute wagon like Auburn, but even they, struggled a little bit, had a bit of a scare, so I think this is one you just got to keep. I'm just going to keep sticking with these home teams. I think it's going to be really tough to go on the road and win in the SEC. I think these are really rocking environments. That's the only thing, is this bad pub, is this place going to be a little bit more quiet? Arkansas really needs their fans to step up, come play in this one. I mean, not come play, but, be excited for this game. There's still a lot of hope for this team. This season is by no means over. This is a very talented roster. Calipari brought in some very good transfers with him. And they need to, this is a night game. There's no excuse to be sleepwalking, and I think they're going to play better today, so I think they get the win. Then going back to the Big Ten second game of their Big Ten Network doubleheader, we have the Penn State Nittany Lions 12-3 on the year, heading to the 13th ranked Illinois Fighting Illini. So Penn State, they're a good story this year. They're kind of been an afterthought in basketball, and maybe kind of the past couple of years, but no, this year they're a good squad. They've knocked off Purdue this year. They're not just gonna be an easy win in the Big Ten. They're led by Ace Baldwin, averaging 14 points per game, 8 assists. I think that's gonna be a good matchup between him and Kasparis Giacchionis. Illinois has a lot of fun, kind of European guys where I think they're really talented. They're really good. So it's gonna be fun. That's kind of gonna be my matchup to watch in this one. Looking at it, both teams are a bit higher scoring. Illinois scoring 87 points per game to Penn State's 86, and then Penn State allows 68 points a game. Illinois 67. So like I mentioned, Penn State coming off that loss to Indiana. Illinois with a really good weekend. Sweeping the Pacific Northwest. Vibes are really high for this Illini team right now. The two sites on Haslametrics projected to win 86-74, and Warren Nolan 80-69. So they do think, this is going to be a bit more of a dominating win for Illinois. Like I said, I'm still highlighting this game. I'm still intrigued to watch it. I think Ace Baldwin's a lot of fun to watch for Penn State, and then like I mentioned, Illinois, a lot of good players. So this is definitely one, even though the spread maybe says it won't be as close of a game. I still think, this is going to be an entertaining one. There's going to be guys playing with the ability to fill the bucket. So I'm going to be tuned in. Hopefully you guys will be as well. But give me the Fighting Illini in that one. Then the final major game of the night, high major game that I'm going to preview. It's the one ranked on ranked matchup. We have the Texas A&M Aggies taking on the Oklahoma Sooners. Texas A&M ranked 10th in this new poll. Oklahoma ranked 17th. They're 13-1. First loss of the year to Alabama over the weekend in a bit of a blowout fashion. Texas A&M, they welcomed their in-state rival Texas to the conference with a nice 20-point win as well. So Texas A&M, they're led by Wade Taylor IV. He's a buck getter. He's my player to watch in this one for sure. And then Jaden Fears is the Oklahoma leader, averaging nearly 18 points a game. So going to be a good matchup between those two. They're both the team leader in assists as well, with nearly 5 a game for Wade Taylor and 4 a game for Fears. Oklahoma scores a little bit higher clip than Texas A&M with 82 points per game to Texas A&M 76, and then Oklahoma allows 70 points per game, where Texas A&M only allows 62. So, mention both their conference wins already. This is another kind of SEC game. Two teams going in different directions. A&M, coming off a big win. Alabama, tough loss. Kind of some murmurs that, Alabama might be a little bit fraudulent, a little bit overrated. While, they were one of the Final Four undefeated teams in the country, did they play the toughest schedule? There was questions out there. There was debate for what I was seeing online. So, this is time. They're gonna have to step up. Play better than they did on Saturday. Granted, Alabama, really really talented team, but so is Texas A&M. So this is their shot to prove that Oklahoma's a talented team as well. Looking at the projections, Haslam has it 74-68 Texas A&M. Nolan has it 73-72 Oklahoma, and they are currently 1.5 point favorites on the betting lines in this game. This is another one. It's going to be tough to win on the road in the SEC, so I think just a lot of these games, especially the home teams favored in a ranked matchup like this, I'm going with the home team. So give me the Sooners to take this one. And then what I'm going to start doing now, I'm going to try to not just do high major games. Like I said, I'm going to limit the number of high major games. I'm going to have at least one mid-major game of the day to watch. Mine today, Drake at Bradley, a Missouri Valley Conference contest. These are two of the teams probably projected to be the 1 and 2 teams in the Valley. I would say this is probably what you're looking at, a championship game preview in Arch Madness. Granted, when it comes to March, upsets happen. So on paper, this is what we should get, but it probably won't be. And that's the beautiful thing about college basketball. It's why I love college basketball. So Drake, they're 12-2 on the year, 2-2 in conference play. Bradley, 13-2, but 4-0 in conference play. So Drake, I would say they were the favorites, coming into the year to win the Valley, but tough week last week, suffering 2 losses. Bradley, they're rolling, so they're going to look to keep that going here at home. Bradley's led by Duke Dean. He's a really fun guard to watch. Definitely, like I said, I'm going to try to start really highlighting, players to watch in these games. So Duke Dean's be my player to watch for Bradley. As you can see, they're scoring 15 points per game, 4 assists. Bradley is one of the teams I have seen play live this year. My sister goes there, so went to one of their games, and I had a lot of fun watching him. He just makes smart basketball plays, hits big shots you need him to. He's definitely a leader of a team that you need. Drake, they're led by Bennett Sturitz. He followed Coach Ben McCollum over from the D2 ranks, and now is playing well at Drake this year. So you might think last year Drake was a tournament team, but Coach Darian DeVries and his son Tucker DeVries, they're gone. They're now at West Virginia. So it's a new regime for Drake, but they've picked back up right where they've left off. So looking at the stats, Bradley scores 81 points per game to Drake's 72, but allows 68 to Drake's 58. Like I mentioned, 2 tough losses in conference for Drake last week to Murray State and UIC. Teams that aren't going to be sniffing anywhere near the tournament unless they win the Valley Conference tournament. So not a good start for Drake in conference play. While, like I said, they were actually one of the last 4 undefeated teams in the country before those 2 losses. But now, things are going the wrong direction. Bradley, on the other hand, good win against Indiana State, tough win on the road in overtime, and then a win against Missouri Valley State. So, Bradley, they've had some battles too. It's not like they've just rolled by any means. Looking at the projections, Haslam has Bradley winning this game 62-60. Warren Nolan has a little bit higher scoring, 70-69. I would say that higher scoring definitely does play more into Bradley's favor if they're going to win this game, and I think they are. They're going to be my pick. I'm going to be a little bit of a homer here, but I think Bradley, they're a really talented team in this tournament, or in the Valley, and I think are going to make the tournament. Myron Metcalf in ESPN's latest article had him as kind of his mid-major team to watch for the rest of the year, and I'd have to agree. I think they're a lot of fun. The Valley, it should be a multi-bid league. It's not, but it really should be. Both these teams should be tournament teams come March. They're tournament caliber, but probably the only one that's going to make it. So this is a big game in that regard. And then just wrapping up, a couple other games to watch here on Wednesday. Like I said, Wednesday a little bit smaller slate than Tuesday, which honestly, you can key in on some more games, maybe catch up on some stuff you missed Tuesday. It also makes this video definitely easier for me. Like I said, I'm going to try to keep Tuesday shorter, maybe go to 10 games, make it a little bit quicker like I did today. Hopefully you guys enjoy this a little bit more. Make sure to let me know. First one, 6:30 Eastern on Peacock. DePaul heads to Seton Hall in a Big East battle. DePaul, they're 0-4 on the year in the Big East. Seton Hall 0-3. So two teams both looking for their first win in the Big East. And DePaul, they're not this rollover team like they were the past couple of years. Like Chris Holtmann has this team, playing competitive. They've already way surpassed their win total from last year. They've been in these Big East games. So these are two, probably middle of the pack Big East teams. But I always like watching the Big East. I'd say, behind the SEC, it's probably my favorite conference to watch. Obviously, watch the Big Ten a lot too, living out here in the Midwest. But Big East definitely up there. So that should be a good one. Then the second game of that Big East doubleheader, Butler takes on Providence at 8:30 Eastern time, and these two teams also struggling in the Big East. Butler 0-4, Providence 1-3. But this is a pick 'em on the spread, so it should be a good game, good contest between these two teams. Definitely want to check that one out. And then final one, Arizona State heads to Allen Fieldhouse, takes on the 11th ranked Kansas Jayhawks. Granted, Arizona State not as tough of a competitor as West Virginia, but Kansas has lost at home in Big 12 play. They did bounce back with a nice win against UCF, blowout win over the weekend. So going to be interesting to see how they respond. And I mean, anytime you can watch a team with the talent that Kansas has, guys like Hunter Dickinson on their team, it's hard to miss an opportunity like that, especially game on ESPN2. So definitely check that one out. So that's going to wrap it up for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said, I'm going to try it, especially Wednesday's video, keep it shorter. I think the videos the past couple days have been a little probably long, and I can tell most of my videos in the fall were regarding football. Now I'm switching to more college basketball, and I could tell definitely I had more of a football audience than a basketball audience views wise. But college basketball is a sport I love, and don't worry, there's still gonna be football videos. I'm gonna be previewing the semifinal games that'll come out here on Thursday. So I want to continue to kind of grow this community. Put more out there for. Bring more awareness to college basketball. It is a really fun sport. It does matter before March. I know a lot of people, they just tune in until March, but there's good games, every week from really here until March Madness. So I want to, raise awareness for those games, have you guys checking them out. So let me know, what's the best way I can do that to kind of showcase these games. Like I said, I'm going to try to be maybe a little bit quicker. I think I was long-winded, just reading too many stats, just kind of reading at you guys. You guys are smart people. You can read box scores. So I want to, bring attention to, things you may not be picking up on, guys to watch, stuff like that. So that's going to wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, I really appreciate anyone who is watching to this point. It really means a lot to me. I'm going to remember it. Like I said, I'm really trying to be consistent. I want this channel to grow. And the growth, it's not gonna be pretty day one. You gotta keep working, gotta keep grinding, and that's what I'm gonna do. So I appreciate y'all coming along with me on this journey, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.